How are you feeling, Bomber Nation? What an unbelievably dominant performance from your Winnipeg Blue Bombers. 48-11. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers come away with victory in front of 27,000 plus at the Madhouse on Matheson. That is win number 14 on the season. And with it, following the BC Lions loss in Toronto earlier in the day, the Blue Bombers will secure first place in the West Division and the CFL and host the West Division final on November 13th. Welcome inside Game Day After Dark. Darrin Bauming with you, Zach Schnitzer to join shortly. You're the Firestarters. Thanks for joining us around the bonfire tonight. Lots to get to on the show. I want to talk about how, now that they've secured first place, the Blue Bombers navigate their final two games of the regular season, a bye week coming up following their game in BC next weekend, and then a first-round bye in the playoffs. Great to see everybody joining us in the live chat. Corey, Ryan, Mac, James, Booch, Granny Bomber fan. Good to see you all in the live chat. Jump in and say hello. You got a question? Fire away. What's going on, James? Welcome to you too. Bob Man, Lynn, so many familiar faces. Arlen and Turk. Bob Man, I think I mentioned you. Yeah, you've been commenting a couple times there. Great to see everybody. Thanks for joining us live on YouTube, Facebook. If you're watching live on Twitter right now, head over to youtube.com/bonfire sports. Then you can interact, get into the live chat. Really appreciate all you guys hitting subscribe. If you haven't yet, appreciate you considering doing that and giving us a thumbs up. Helps a lot in keeping this channel going. Fritchie, what's going on, man? Good to see you in the live chat. As always, putting up the emojis that are becoming city famous, province famous, the blue and the bomb. Great to see everybody. Zach Schnitzer, just moments away. He will join me, but I don't know where you guys want to start. Do you want to start with the usual suspects? Dalton Schoen. Well, he now leads the CFL in receiving yards, in receiving touchdowns. Of course, Jalen Acklin and Geno Lewis, two very, very good receivers that have been in this league for a number of years now. Still play later this weekend, so they can eclipse Schoen in that department, but very unlikely that they will eclipse him in the receiving touchdowns mark. 13 to lead the way is really, really something. Nick Dembski pulled in his 10th touchdown of the season. He has 6 touchdowns in his last, no, pardon me. He has 8 touchdowns in his last 6 games. Think about that. A month and a half ago, Nick Dembski had 2 TDs. He now has 10, by far the most in his career in a single season. I've been watching his combined yardage numbers. Don't want to pat myself on the back, but I expected Nick Dembski and said so in the preseason for him to hit 1,000 yards receiving and rushing combined. He is nearly there after another very big game today. It was Dalton Schoen leading all receivers, 7 catches on 8 targets for 163 yards and 3 touchdowns. So I'll correct myself, 14 on the year. Dembski, 5 catches on 6 targets for 91 yards and a touchdown. Brady Oliveira also pulled in 1 receiving, punched 1 in on the ground. He had 46 in the air, 61 on the ground. So a 100-yard combined game for Brady Oliveira with a couple tutties, as they like to call them. And then I want to ask this question. This blows my mind. And I'm sure it will blow yours too. When is the last time no quarterback got hurt in a game? No quarterback got pulled in a game due to performance. And there were 3 quarterbacks on the same team to each throw at least 1 touchdown. Dakota Prukop, 2 of 2 for 61 yards and a touchdown. Drew Brown, 1 of 2 passing for 65 yards and a touchdown. Zach Collaros, 15 of 19 tonight, 79%, 1 interception. It's on the 5-yard line, so almost like one of those red zone interceptions that are backbreakers, but not a backbreaker for this team after they marched the field 4 times, their first 4 possessions, 4 touchdowns. but Collaros went 241 yards, 3 touchdowns, that pick, a quarterback efficiency rating of 151.4. A perfect rating is 158.3. Drew Brown had a perfect quarterback rating on 2 pass attempts and hitting 1. Dakota Prukop, of course, 2 for 2 and a perfect quarterback rating of 158.3. Zach Collaros, in my expectation, the CFL most outstanding player once again in 2022, 151.4 quarterback efficiency rating. Great to see everybody, like more of my favorites, the regular crew, the usual suspects around here. John Campbell and Comet, Ryan Friesen, Andrea and Paul. Great to see everybody. Thanks so much for jumping on and joining us here on the postgame show. There was Dakota Prukop doing what he has done so very well this season, picking up first downs, but the way the Buck Pierce left Prukop in the game to throw a little bit, to do some different things, I thought was very smart, and it was clearly very, very effective. Winnipeg, as I mentioned, scored 4 touchdowns on their first 4 possessions, cooled off a little bit in the third quarter, expectedly so, from a Chris Jones defense, getting a chance to catch their breath, look at some pictures during halftime, and then come out and play a little bit tighter, I guess, defensively in the third quarter. But then Winnipeg really just took off from there and continued to pile it on. Really, the only thing Edmonton could do in this game was move the ball a little bit and try to get a field goal. And it just wasn't enough. The Blue Bombers defense has been so good all season, exemplary in 2021. But in 2022, it's the Blue Bombers offense that is really the strength of the team. And that really says something, because people were so concerned. Tell me, hit the comments right now. Join the live chat here on Bonfire Sports. Were you worried about the Blue Bombers offense after Andrew Harris left? Were you worried what this team would look like with no 33? The straw that stirs the drink, as everybody used to say. He most definitely was. Now it's Nick Dembski. You mix in a rookie phenom. And I don't even think that's cliche or hyperbole at this point. Phenomenal player and a rookie phenom, Dalton Schoen. He's a straw that stirs the drink. Brady Oliveira is a straw that stirs the drink. Just unbelievable the way Winnipeg has found ways to make it work. Of course, they've had their quarterback. They've been, relatively speaking, healthy on the offensive line. The run game, they stuck with it. They stuck with their guy in Brady Oliveira. He has been so good since getting over that early season hump or curve in the road. And then receiver goes down, new guy steps in. Another receiver goes down, another guy steps in. It's been very impressive to watch Buck Pierce dial it all up. Zach Collaros looks so good and so consistent every single week. And then watching everybody around Zach Collaros blossom in Schoen, in Dembski having a career year, in Rashid Bailey having a career year. It's really, really been something. Getting lots of texts on the Bonfire hotline. Hit up the number. Where are we here? Oh, yeah, there it is. 816-TIPS. That's 204-816-8477. And of course, our good friend, Zach Schnitzer, joining us on the show. How are you, Zach? I'm going to get you to tilt your camera down as we bring you in here. How are you, my man? Oh, yeah,
my neck is just killing me, so I kind of want to look up a little bit.
Okay. We can make that work. Sorry, buddy. We can make that work. You know what? I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. Now we look good. How about that? How you feeling, Zach? Good to have you on the program. Huge win, 48-11. Your final score at IG Field tonight. Tell us about the atmosphere in the stands at the Madhouse on Matheson.
You know, I was wondering, Darrin, what the attendance would be. You know, they sold out last game, but it was, of course, the Truth and Reconciliation game. But they were looking to lock up first place here at the West Final. And you know what? It was a pretty good atmosphere. Over 27,000 people. They had the wave going at the appropriate time, my friend.
Let's not even get into that.
People were screaming. My friend who's from Regina, his daughter wanted to come to the game, is now a Bombers fan. That was the icing on the cake. I was just needling my buddy with that because his daughter has now gone the other way on him. So of course I had to buy her a couple presents, but she had that bull bell that giant cowbell. It's like the cowbell on speed.
Right.
This girl's 7 years old and she was just wailing it all game. I can't believe it. So yeah, it was a great atmosphere. People were just having a fantastic time, man, and just beautiful weather, like perfect early October football weather. You saw the crowd just went nuts when BC lost, and then pretty quickly in that game, it was over, and it's like, okay, like. See you on November 13th, and now comes out the chain. Oh yeah, it was a
I
great
thought your
night,
neck was
buddy.
sore.
Well, you know what? As long as I'm looking up a little bit.
Well, you can keep looking up. Just tilt your screen down.
All right.
That's all good. Now you look.
You don't want to see my.
I didn't want everybody thinking that I was 6'4" and you're 5'4".
Yeah, I got to see Sign Guy. I went to meet him and his son, and that was really great. Saw some fans of Bonfire, Darrin, as I'm walking to go get my burger, saying, "Hey, Zach." So
Nice.
that's always fun to meet new people, and gave one guy a keychain that you had given me. I thought, hey, I'll give Corey a keychain, a friend of the show, Corey. So
nice.
Yeah, great night all around. And Darrin, just last thing, I get home and what's sitting on my dining room table?
What was there?
This classic 1991 Grey Cup glass that my buddy Damian Petter got me from someone he knew. And it's just a beauty, man. November 20th to 24th, 1991 Grey Cup Festival. Everyone remembers that game with the Coke can or what beer can being thrown.
Right. Yeah. The can of beer, the rocket returning that ball. That was that's trademark CFL right there. Just a moment that screams the league. Speaking of Screaming Potato. Good to see you in the live chat. Great handle, by the way. Love that. He says, or she says, I don't know. Awesome play calling. Nice mix of running plays and deep balls, mixing guys up as well with guys carrying the ball. Yeah, Winnipeg, I thought very balanced today, and the play calling superb as expected from offensive coordinator Buck Pierce. Brady Oliveira, 14 carries. He pitched in 2 catches as well, pulling in 2 targets. Rashid Bailey had a couple catches. Brendan O'Leary-Orange, including one right out of the gate. He had a couple. But it was Nick Dembski and Dalton Schoen, who I was obviously touching on right out of the gate, Zach. Your take on this dynamic duo at the end of the arm of Zach Collaros?
Well, it's a magic elixir, Darrin. Like, they looked absolutely unstoppable, and it's not like they were playing a terrible pass defense. Edmonton really struggles against the run, which is why I picked Brady Oliveira for the over on SIA.com/bonfire for 69.5 yards, and I missed it by 8. But hey, they gave Augustine some reps. I'll eat that when I won on the money line. But honestly, when they're playing slot back, and you have to cover both of them, maybe you double one. And I said to my buddy Mark, who I brought, I basically called the touchdowns, because when Winnipeg is going to get into the score zone, the 30-yard line, first down, second down, the safety has to make a choice. They're in the slot. One of them's going to have one-on-one coverage. And Zach, the O-line, gave him all day today, Darrin. One of them, he had a double pump fake. I believe it was on the one of the Schoen touchdowns. Just brilliance from Zach Collaros. And those 3 guys together are just destroying teams. Like, you just call it. It's like they're in the red zone or the 30-yard line. you can't. The DBs couldn't stop it. You're talking about Scott Hutter, who's had a good season at safety for Edmonton. Tristan Decoux, who we've talked about, who went out injured later, has been very good for Edmonton. They were getting absolutely shredded, and I don't know, man. Like they look impossible to stop at times. And then even when Collaros isn't throwing the ball, you've got Drew Brown, who throws a thing of beauty, 65-yard touchdown to Schoen. It's just it's a beauty to watch. I mean, Dembski's your second leading receiver. He's got a touchdown and 91 receiving yards, man. It was just a beauty to watch, and frankly kind of unstoppable. Peter D saying the Bombers' red zone is within the 45-yard line. He's not wrong. I mean, me and my Logan and Steve there, we were calling. It's like he's just gonna throw to the end zone, yeah, I could go on and on, but what I mean, how do you
before you joined us, Zach? I was talking about how it's uncanny that in a game where no quarterback was pulled due to performance and no quarterback went down to injury, that three quarterbacks on the same team each had a touchdown pass. Like crazy that Collaros throws 3, Brown throws 1. He goes 1 of 2 for 65 yards. And then Prukop goes 2 of 2 for 61 yards. I love Jeff Kabila's comment here. Buck should have come down from the booth to throw a TD pass as well. Mitch commenting, Mitch Hudson, who's watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Mitch? Good to have you. Is this the strongest QB core we've ever had? Is it? Maybe. It could very well be. Look, I was talking to a couple fellow reporters. We were watching Thursday Night Football, and the topic of Drew Brown came up.
Yeah.
And, they're like, oh, yeah, no, he's good. I'm like, I've been saying it for weeks.
Yeah, you called it.
This guy is going to be a starter in the CFL. He has it. He has something.
Yeah.
So all the power to him and all the power to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers right now, because they got Dakota Prukop, they've got Drew Brown, and they've got the best player in the league today. And that is Zach Collaros. I think he will come away with the CFL MOP award. Lots of discussion this week, especially about Nathan Rourke, Sean Lemon, sack numbers and only playing, 8 games, not even half a full season for Nathan Rourke. Most outstanding defensive player, most outstanding offensive lineman. Derek Dennis injured a couple weeks ago and done for the year. Like how it's all going to shake out. In the end, the Blue Bombers have everything going for them. Defense, I think, is an area we should talk about, Zach. Jamal Parker came in a few weeks ago when Demerio Houston went down to injury, as did Evan Holm when Nick Taylor left the game, and then we've since learned he is done for the season. Alden Darby acquired via trade.
Yep.
We know that he did not play tonight, but expected to be in the lineup, I would think.
Yeah.
I would think next week in BC. That game's on Saturday night.
Who does he come in for, you think?
I think he comes in for Evan Holm because Jamal Parker has gotten better every single game. He made a huge play on special teams tonight. He made some very good plays on defense, including one in the first half that was outstanding in knocking a ball away from Mitchell, I believe it was.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, great timing. This is what I see in Jamal Parker, okay? Because I know not a lot of people will watch a player unless the ball is there. Jamal Parker has explosion. He has real explosion in his legs, real burst, real quickness. When a ball gets thrown, he can cut, stop, and go as fast as anybody I've ever seen. So like Mike O'Shea said just a couple weeks ago, when there was some heat on rookie Jamal Parker for some of the plays he left on the field, he needs to see more pictures, is what the head coach said. And Jamal Parker has seen more pictures every single week, gotten better, studying, hustling, practicing, working, and it's paying off. He is right now looking like a veteran defensive back. Evan Holm, I think there's still some work to be done there. That's where I expect Alden Darby to step in. But we
Yeah.
do know Darby is familiar with the dime back spot where Canadian Retta Cramdy has come in and usurped, taken over from Donald Rutledge Jr., an American and a rookie. But Retta Cramdy's been a special teamer through his first couple years in the CFL. I think
And
he
how
missed
did he
most
look?
of
How did he
2021
look to you, Darrin
due to
Retta
injury.
Cramdy playing out there?
Yeah, he looks okay.
Yeah, I thought he looked okay too.
He didn't stand out to me, which means, okay, that's a good thing. If you're a DB and they don't talk about you too much, that's good. You know who else they're not talking about? The big piece of poly, the tarpaulin, Dietrich Nichols, who will, I have no, look, I would say I have no doubt, but I'm sure hoping the voters in other markets realize just how good he is. He should be a CFL All-Star once again, as he was last year.
No, they were talking about him on the pregame too, Darrin. I mean, it's not just, this isn't just a Darrin Bauming thing, folks. Like, this guy is on another level. They just don't throw him the ball.
Not much is just a Darrin Bauming thing.
No,
I only tell you
much.
the truth. Doesn't mean I created it.
He's a truth bomb. The truth bombing, right?
Yeah.
The chain is here. I'm just a little overheated, but I don't want to get all naked on the camera here. Although
I thought it was your neck bugging you.
No. But I did appear on the dance cam.
You did.
And
what were you dancing to?
I don't remember, but Vicky Short in 128, shout out to Vicky, turned around and yelled in front of everybody, "Don't quit your day job." So shout out to Vicky. I had a big question about the defense coming in, Darrin. I think that's why maybe you and I thought the Bombers, maybe we didn't think they'd cover the 12.5. You have Cornelius who can run the ball. He certainly has struggles with accuracy, but he can run when he has to. You had Kevin Brown, who looked like a pretty good running back coming in, at a good week last week. This Salisbury kid who's very quick. So I was concerned about Edmonton exploiting our linebacking core. We talked about even Biggie missing some tackles, although Biggie had 9 tackles tonight. He sure looked like vintage Biggie.
I didn't even look at the defensive numbers because it was like, didn't matter.
Yeah. Well, it didn't matter, but that was my major concern coming in, and I thought the Bombers played really well on defense. I thought Retta Cramdy looked not out of place. He had a really nice tackle. I think he even injured a guy. I don't remember who it was off the top of my head, but he just took a guy to the ground.
He's a good tackler.
He's a
Retta
good
Cramdy
tackler.
Got drafted in the late rounds a few years ago because he is a great tackler.
Yeah.
Not a speedster, but man, he can play football. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, you saw Mark. You saw a lot of pressure on Cornelius tonight. Guys in his face. You saw Marcus Sales with a really good hustle play to get that sack. He almost didn't want to bring him down, like he wasn't sure. Or Keon Adams had a sack. I thought he looked really good tonight coming in for his very first game, Darrin.
Well, that one that he missed, like, they didn't even block him. He was completely free. That, like, in football, that's what they call it when a rusher or a tackler is unblocked, completely free off the edge. And like, I don't get it. It happens once in a while, but Keon Adams is that's a pretty nice piece to have behind Willie Jefferson and Jackson Jeffcoat. Jackson Jeffcoat's job is not in jeopardy this season. Right? But Keon Adams, he looks like he's got a little bit of game.
He does. He's a big guy. He looks good. No, I thought the defense, I thought Parker played really well. I saw that he was going to try and pick on that field side, and I thought they held their own. If anything, it was Winston Rose who got burnt again, Darrin. And, sometimes you get left on an island, but this has happened again and again and again and again. And listen, like I said this a couple weeks ago, I was talking about how, I was listening to a different podcast, The Herd with Colin Cowherd, and he was talking to the ex-head coach of the Saints, Sean Payton, Darrin. and the amount of work that goes into play calling, right? And the amount of, it's 4D chess, as we call it. So much happens, right? Who knows if someone else, he was supposed to get safety help, but the fact is he was one-on-one. I believe it was Dylan Mitchell, and he was a step behind. And if it happens once, fine, but now it's happened several times with Rose. He did slip. I see a Pilipenka, but I don't know if he was in good position, and it concerns me. That one concerns me. But other than that, does it concern you, or do you think I'm overreacting?
Forgive me.
It was a 59-yard touchdown. It was like the only good throw from Taylor Cornelius tonight in the first quarter. It made the score.
Does it concern me? I mean, one play will never concern me.
But if it happens over and over again this season, because now he's been burnt 5 or 6 times.
Well, has the Bombers defense played bad overall on the season? You got a chain around your neck. What do they say about good teams? You're only as strong as your weakest link.
Oh, nice. That was very good, Darrin.
Right?
That was very good.
Look, the Bombers aren't going to shut out every team every week. The Bombers are not going to allow no touchdowns, opponent after opponent after opponent. Okay? It's not going to happen. Winnipeg is so stingy against the run. Winnipeg is so good at not allowing points.
You're right. Overall, for sure.
Football is about playing chess, right? It is about setting things up. You do A to get to B. You do C to accomplish Q. You know what I mean? Like you're always trying to set things up.
I get it.
Like often they'll talk about offensive coordinators scripting a drive. These are the plays I want to do. And then when I see the defense doing the thing that I'm anticipating it to do, then we go hit them. And that could very well be what opposing teams are doing. They know Winston Rose is an aggressive player. He likes to jump routes. He likes to get up in the face of players. He likes to play that aggressive style. I think it's an effective style because I don't see Winston Rose allowing 150-yard receivers on him. Right? I see him get beat every couple games. He gets beat for a touchdown. Well, that's 7 points on the board. And
I hear you. I hear you.
Overall,
I mean, it's
not concerned. To answer your question.
It's not killing the Bombers. It's just a little bit of a pattern I've seen. He does play aggressive. Now, Waiters is saying he actually did have really good coverage and stumbled a bit from where I was sitting, was on the other side. So I'm going to make an excuse right there. But it's just a pattern. Listen, here's what I don't want to see. I don't want to. Oh, sorry, it wasn't Waiters. It was Booch. I just don't want to see the game on the line and him give up a big one like that. So it's something I'm looking for. You didn't. And here's the thing, Darrin. You didn't see it last year, and you didn't see it before. So this is the first year I've seen Rose get.
Well, also Winston Rose was probably the best DB on the team before.
Yeah.
Weakest link, right?
So you're saying he's the weakest link, maybe?
In the secondary, maybe. Like if you got to look at the, 3 or 4 guys across the field, like here's the thing. Safety help generally shades over to a weakness, right? And like it's not just like ABC black and white, right? Different play calls, different schemes, different things you're trying to do. There's always a way to attack a defense. There's always a way to beat a defense, right? Unless somebody goes and makes a play. If you got Dietrich Nichols playing all 5 defensive back spots, it's going to be hard to beat them.
No, that would be nice, eh?
But sometimes you're playing a quarters defense or, a cover 2, or you're putting different players at different places and you're daring or allowing certain things and locking down other things. It's that 3D chess. It's that 4D chess. It really, really is. So my point is a defense is always going to have a spot that's going to get beat. And if you have rookies in Jamal Parker and Evan Holm, who the last few games, offenses have gone after again and again and again. They've gone after Shane Gauthier. They've gone after Evan Holm. They've gone after Jamal Parker. Well, Parker's gotten better every game. Gauthier is excellent against the run and a little bit more susceptible against the pass through my eyes. Far from an expert, though. And Evan Holm still has a lot of work to do. So where's Brandon Alexander going to help? Is he going to go help Dietrich Nichols side of the ball with Winston Rose? Probably not. So one play, I'm not going to say I'm worried about Winston Rose because of the one play.
Was that a PI, you think? I didn't see the replay
I
because
didn't
of
get a
course they
good
don't
look.
show it.
I didn't get a good
couldn't
look. I know
tell.
the broadcast for those out there
Yeah.
that were at the game, the TSN broadcast, great crew with Dusty and Suits tonight. They did not believe it was pass interference.
Yeah.
The command center clearly did. I read that it was just a hand on the back and that he wasn't pulling the jersey. It didn't stop him, that sort of thing. I didn't get a good enough look at it.
It was okay.
To really know for sure. But if you have a hand on a player and you're not there to make a play, that's pass interference by the textbook definition.
Right.
So, would it have not been called on a different day or a different official, or maybe? But again, we'll see. I see some people mentioning Casey Sales in the live chat. Let me know what you guys were wondering about Casey Sales. Injured last game, did not practice this week, but he was in the game and playing tonight.
Great hustle play on that sack. And Hardrick went out and
Right.
Jeff Gray comes out to right tackle, which is of course concerning, but I think the Bombers adjusted to it well. They just started running the ball and just killing the clock. And I saw Hardrick on the sideline, Darrin. He looked completely fine. I think that I think if this was
Hardrick?
a playoff game, I think if this is a playoff game, Hardrick stays in. He looked okay to me, and Stanley Bryant, when he was running out from the tunnel, looked a little bit like he was just a tad gingerly running, but he looked fine. I mean, look at all the time Zach Collaros had and Drew Brown had and Prukop had tonight throwing the ball. So I'm really was impressed with that O-line. One of the big questions was with the last game, Darrin, was, Zach Collaros had 7 completions against Edmonton in that 24-10 win on the road. 7 completions, he still wins, but he threw 2 interceptions. He was strip sacked. They were in his face all game. You saw Serezna come back, so maybe one of the better defensive linemen in the league.
No question.
And Winnipeg played a phenomenal game on the offensive line, rushing for well over 100 yards. You saw 5 or 6 guys get touches rushing the ball. Everyone was rushing well. And then you saw the pass numbers. So shout out to that offensive line because they were going to be challenged more this week, and they were up to it, because Chris Jones is crafty. He can get pressure with 3 guys, for goodness sake. So I was just really impressed.
No, I really was too. Complete game for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers tonight. Huge win, nearly a 50 burger, 48-11 over the Edmonton Elks. The Elks playoff hopes hanging by a thread.
Are they still in it, Darrin?
Yeah. So Ottawa's still in it. Mathematically. That is true. But the thing that we do know for sure is Winnipeg has secured the best record in the CFL this season, no matter what happens the rest of the way. They've got 2 games against the BC Lions. That's it. Winnipeg, best record in the league in the regular season this year. They will host the West Final on Sunday, November 13th. The West Final should be the second game, so I expect that game to be at 3:30 Central Time, but keep it locked to your local listings for that. Here's a good question for you and Isaac. How do you guys get home from the game so fast? Brandon B says he left right after the final whistle and he just got home.
Well, Darrin, you start because you're the one who gets home faster.
Oh, I live in a van down by the river.
Which river? Is it the Red?
The Red. It's right there.
The Red.
This is all an illusion. This is like Hustler's backdrop.
He lives at 840 Hazeldale. I mean, he just must speed his ass off.
Dude, folks, I don't even know what that's about.
I don't know either, but you want to know the funny thing? I have a buddy who lives on Hazeldale, and I asked him, is there anything special about 840 Hazeldale? He's like, Hazeldale ends at 500, Zach. There is no there is no 840 Hazeldale. I just
That is funny.
myself laughing there. Hey,
That is
Donnie just
funny.
joined. I can't imagine you're home by now. Are you texting from the car? It was great to see you at the park there, Donnie. I saw Donnie's son. Donnie's son got a pair of legit receiver gloves. I don't know where he got them, but some beautiful white CFL receiver gloves. I don't know if an elk threw it to them. I don't know, man. But maybe they
An
were
elk.
waving the white glove rather than the white the white flag. But yeah, they were done. But anyway, I digress.
So
I'll take a shot.
for those that didn't notice or were unable to see on the field, when Jamarcus Hardrick left the game late in the fourth quarter, midway through the fourth quarter, Jeff Gray moved from left guard to right tackle, and Michael Couture came in at left guard. Liam Dobson came in at that point, and a tight end set went
Oh,
to
really?
like outside of the right tackle. So that's probably how Winnipeg would handle things, or clearly is handling things, if they lose somebody on the offensive line. When Stanley Bryant hasn't practiced the last couple of weeks, it's been Jeff Gray kicking out to left tackle. We've seen a little bit of Eric Lofton there as well. I think Winnipeg wants to ensure they have a contingency plan, and then a contingency plan on that contingency plan. That's really the reality of football. Next man up. The more you can do, the more valuable you are to a team. But either way, Zach, Winnipeg is in good shape. No major injuries, it appeared, coming out of this game. We will get a look when they return to the field. I was going to look at my calendar, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Tuesday. They will return to the practice field. So keep it locked to my Twitter at Darrin Bauming for the latest there. And you can find those links in the description below, or you can go to bonfiresports.ca. You can find Zach's, you can find mine, you can find Chris Walby's. You guys who are on Twitter know that. But if you're not on Twitter, doesn't matter, right? You can go to twitter.com/Zach Schnitzer 48 and get the heat, right?
Number 48, baby, and we put up 48, and my favorite number is 11. I mean, it couldn't have been. It was a banner night. And buddy, like,
Nice.
think about this for a second. For fans of my generation, the team that that was the benchmark was the 14-4 2001 Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That was the best team that we'd ever seen. And of course, they had that epic collapse after letting Calgary up off the mat in the regular season, right? First team under 500 to win a Grey Cup. This team has hit 14 wins, and I'm not sure. Someone on the chat was saying that might be tied for the record for wins for the Bombers. So this team is 14-2. Just think about that for a second. And one of those games was a razor thin margin that, 99 times out of 100 we win, because nobody ever pooches a kick like Legio did on that last play of the regulation, Darrin. This team could be 15-1. With the injuries they've had, this is insane. Like, this is quite arguably the best Bomber team people have ever seen, quite frankly. Like, last year was a shortened season. The Bombers had a lot of continuity, Darrin, more than most other teams because of COVID, and they just had that continuity, so they had that advantage out of the gate. This team has gone through a lot of adversity. They got beat straight up once, should have won again. 14-2. The BC Lions now, albeit without Nathan Rourke, I see them probably splitting. This could be a 15-3 team.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how they are going to navigate the rest of the regular season. So for everyone out there, for full clarity, they have got a game in Vancouver on Saturday. It's a 9 p.m. Central Time start.
Yeah.
Okay. So late game Saturday. They then have a bye in late October. And then they return to practice the week of October 21st, 23rd, 24th, somewhere in there. And then home to the BC Lions on Friday, October 28th. So October 15th in Vancouver, October 28th at home, both against the Lions. Bye week in the middle, bye week following their final game of the regular season, because they have locked down first place in the West and will host the West Final, as everybody is gleefully aware in Bomber Nation right now, Zach. How should Winnipeg approach these final two games? And I will start by stating something that I think would be the smartest path as far as the quarterbacks are concerned. Okay. I would play Zach Collaros next week in Vancouver.
Yeah.
No, pardon me. I'm wrong. I would play Drew Brown and Dakota Prukop next week in Vancouver.
Okay.
Then the Bombers have a bye. So that's 2 weeks off for Zach Collaros. But then they play a game October 28th, and then they have a bye. So if you're going to rest Zach Collaros, do it now. Because if you wait to the final game of the regular season, he would go bye week, week off, bye week, and then play in a playoff game. If you just take it from date to date, that's almost a month.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think you play him at the home game, where it's probably going to be a much cleaner game. The West Division could be determined at that point between BC and Calgary for second place, and who hosts the West Division semifinal on November 6th. So that could be a very different game. But I just don't think you want to go a huge stretch of time from October 15th to November 13th without playing your number ones. And just in regards to the quarterback, I think Zach would even play a little bit in Vancouver next week, but you could really give him a chance to take a rest.
I feel sheepish because I was like, yep, next week, yep, and then I heard your argument unfold, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, I think you're totally right. I mean, why send him to Vancouver, or maybe send him?
We send him, of course. You send him,
but
oh yeah,
like that makes a lot of sense. Sort of play him bi-weekly. You cannot have the rust you had last year in that West Final. That was just too close for comfort. Turning the ball over 6 times. Now, that's not all on Zach, right? But he did throw a pick or two, I think. Yeah, 2 picks. One was that bizarre one off Dembski in the first quarter. But yeah, I think that's very smart. I think you get Brown some reps in Vancouver. You get Prukop some reps. I mean, Prukop is a guy that just intrigues the heck out of me. I thought he just played a brilliant game tonight, Darrin. And that touch pass to Dembski. I mean, my whole section saw that coming. They're like, it's going to Dembski on second and short. That was not an easy pass, and I believe it was against again that Tristan Decoud, who's a nice DB, and it was a beautiful touch pass. And then of course he has that phenomenal touchdown pass to Brady Oliveira, who's not exactly a speedster, but he's out wide there in between 2 DBs. And it was again a beautiful pass with guys right in his face. Darrin Prukop had that touchdown pass. So and on short yardage, the guy looks unstoppable. Sometimes he just rushes straight ahead. Sometimes he takes a couple steps back, and I was kind of freaking out. But he's just looking for the holes. He's very. The word I use for Dakota Prukop is gamely. He kind of like he's got these long legs. He's a sort of a tall, gangly guy, and he's fun to watch. Not gangly, gamely. I don't know what I'm saying. Gamely, kind of like
he's
one
a gamer.
A gamer, but also like a deer with those long, powerful legs. Anyway, I'll just stop talking about that.
Great to see Craig Smith in the live chat. Hope you're doing well, our good friend. He's watching live on Facebook. He's followed the Bombers since 1962. And for those that don't know Craig Smith, he's also been a player, personnel, and scout in Canadian Football League for a long time. Craig says, I think it is the best team. I love the 1987 team. It was so strong, but lost the Eastern final. Chris Walby talks about that game a lot.
He does.
He figures like they were so ready to just kick everyone's ass, and heartbreak.
Yeah.
Heartbreak. And I sure don't hope for Bomber Nation we see that this season.
No, it's like 1960 heartbreak, 1972, yeah, 87, but
2001,
2001, which
2007.
2007. But and here's the thing: this is a team that Darrin that's 14-2, undefeated against the West Division, and their defense at times is running on fumes in terms of injuries. I mean, can you imagine if the starters were playing? I think DT was saying they've lost 20% of man games lost or something, something like that. Like a lot of guys. Like you talk about Greg Ellingson on offense, right? Couture was out a lot of the season. Dembski was out some of the season, yeah, right. And all the starters on defense. Can you imagine if we had Houston playing for longer? Taylor, Wilson. Like, this team might be undefeated. I know that sounds crazy, but this is a team that's dominant, maybe one of the best Bomber teams of all time, maybe best of all time, and they're 14-2. And they had Evan Holm and Parker and Briggs, Maruo, Gauthier coming in. Brandon Alexander just came back. It is astonishing. Yeah, Jeffcoat's been out in a lot of spells. Like, it's astonishing with and you gotta think that's the locker room, that's coaching. I it impresses the hell out of me, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't add anything to that. It really is.
But here you
It
have
is
almost
beyond
6
impressive.
weeks. It's 6 weeks now till the Western Final, almost. I mean, that's a long
Yeah,
time. I mean,
it's,
the good thing is maybe you get some guys back, right?
well, like it's October 8th
I know.
today, and that's November 13th. So yeah, that's a long, long time. Zach, let's get into our picks
Yes,
and our
sir.
features here. Walby's Warrior, Westwood wide to the right, our Bonfire Burning Point. Some people already joking that the Bonfire Burning Point was the opening kickoff tonight. We're going to have our Happy Honker Award, and we'll hand out our game balls as well. Let's start where we always do, in honor of the greatest, number 63, Walby's Warrior tonight. Who do you like for the guy that got it done?
Well, my good friend Caitlin and I agreed the Warrior, and I saw some Firestarters agree. Jamal Parker, number 45, corner on the field side. You were talking about his athleticism. He broke up a couple of passes. He had was it a fumble recovery, Darrin, that he had?
What, today?
Yeah.
No.
I thought he had a fumble recovery. I thought he didn't not only didn't look out of place. I thought he played a really good game, and Jamal Parker. There was a lot of questions about him coming in, Darrin,
He had a
and
fumble recovery.
yeah, he had a fumble recovery. I think that was the which one was that? It escapes me right now, but
oh yeah,
because Nick Hallett had a forced fumble on a kick return. I don't know that Parker was there. I think it was someone help me out. I had it written down, but I've lost it here.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. It was a fumble recovery late in the game.
Yeah, so I just thought he was solid. He almost had a pick six, actually. Now, granted, he's playing against Taylor Cornelius, but I thought just a guy it just keeps fighting and fighting and fighting. People had questions about him, and he's answered those questions, Darrin. He's basically like he's a third stringer. This is Houston's backup. And I thought he played really well tonight. So good for him.
How about this? John Chan joining us from YouTube. What's going on, John? Good to have you. Good morning from Singapore, says
That's
John
awesome.
Chan. Watching Bonfire Sports after a fantastic Bombers win and before the start of the Japan F1 and the Japan Grand Prix in a couple hours' time. What's going on, John? Good to have you with us.
That's cool.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
I've heard Singapore is like, I heard Singapore is like the cleanest city in the world. They have little garbage cans in every street corner, and I think it's illegal to spit your gum out on the ground. Maybe help us out, John Chan. But You
Yeah,
get
like
a big shout out for that. A friend of
yeah,
my
no,
wife
no
told me that.
question. One of the most beautiful cities in the world, the most densely populated city
Yeah,
in the world for square, I would say square mileage, but they
yeah.
do the metric system like the rest of the
Right,
world,
right, right.
square kilometers or whatever it is. But 36 million people in that
Wow.
the GJA, the Greater or GTA, Greater Tokyo
Greater
area.
Singapore area? I don't know. I don't know.
Singapore?
I thought we were talking about Singapore.
Oh my God, I was talking about Tokyo.
Well,
That's my bad.
Tokyo's also a large city in Eastern
Tokyo's the
Asia.
largest. It's 36 million. My
John
bad.
Chad is probably like, "Who are these clowns?"
I'll never watch them again. They think I'm in a completely different country.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh my God. GSA. Thank you, T. Konapali. See, a man from a real town, Transcona, he knows what's up. The
Well,
greater Singapore
can
area.
I just say someone on the chat was talking about Ed Gainey chirping the sidelines quite a bit. You were only
Sorry,
21
John.
million off. You were
Sorry, John.
only 21 million off. That's not too bad. Not too bad, my friend.
Only Los Angeles off, right?
Yeah.
Like, geez. Um,
Did you see Ed Gainey chirping the sidelines?
no, I didn't.
You didn't, eh?
No. No. Okay, my Walby Warrior tonight. I love your pick of Jamal Parker. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
really
like
a home
Jamal
run
tonight.
pick. I will add to it and go a different direction. And because I think Jamal Parker really is the Walby Warrior tonight, I'm going to give it to somebody that doesn't get an opportunity to be on the field a lot in those really, really critical situations, but played so well again tonight. Finished with a perfect passing mark rating of 158.3. I'm giving it to Dakota Prukop tonight as my Walby Warrior. But Jamal Parker, great pick as well. Westwood wide to the right. The moment in this game, Zach, that just rubbed you the wrong way, the goofy thing, the whatever. What didn't
Okay.
you like about tonight? What's your Westwood wide
It's
to the
hard
right?
to find a wide to the right. I mean, I could give it to the fact that they took Oliveira out and I mean, Oliveira in the past game, Darrin, was unbelievable. Did you see that one he picked up off the turf and took it for like 20 yards? Like
Yeah.
that was astonishing. So I believe he had over 40 yards in receiving. I could be wrong about that, but the thing about that is I took the over on 69.5 yards. I thought we'd run the ball against Edmonton. They're the worst run defense in the league, but wide to the right, I didn't get my over from SIA.com, but I only wagered $25. It's hard to find a wide to the right. The one wide to the right for me, and it's pretty negligible, but in the second quarter, we were up 28-8. The game was pretty much over, and they subbed out Brady Oliveira, who's a good blocker, as most starting running backs are, Darrin, and they subbed in Janarian Grant. And I mean, it's hindsight, but there was a free rush end on Zach Collaros, and he got up very gingerly. He threw the ball away, Darrin. But I just thought, we talked about this on midweek. My biggest concern coming into this game, if Stanley Bryant was going to be out, was would Zach Collaros be healthy? I didn't even know, forget winning the game. I just wanted him to be healthy. And that play scared me. And I know you want to, you go deeper into the playbook as the season goes on, but do you really need to go deep into the playbook when you're up 28-8 against a team that's, basically a shell of a team at this point? They have the worst home losing streak in the CFL history. I didn't like that one, but I mean, I'm nitpicky here. It's
Yep.
hard to find things you don't like unless you want to look at the Elks, because there's a whole lot of garbage on that side.
I'm going to go with Rob Mahoney tonight, and my geography is the Westwood wide to the right because I missed by thousands of kilometers and an entire country in I don't know why Japan and Tokyo was popped into my head. This is the crazy part, Zach. What do you think I majored in university?
Based on what you're saying, I'm going to say geography.
I majored in geography. in
Well,
university.
maybe you didn't take a lot of like international geography courses.
I
Maybe it was
loved it
more
though. I loved the international
Western.
geography. Like I loved looking at globes and maps, and I focused on American human geography.
Oh,
Works
okay.
well now because I can talk to a lot of American athletes from all corners of the U.S. But
You
that's
did
my wide to the right tonight.
you did throw 26 million in Japan and population density numbers right out of the top of your head. So, I mean,
Yeah,
that was impressive.
suppose. Still very upset with myself. Like Singapore is like one of the most international cities on the globe.
Yes.
Like it's not just like, oh yeah, Singapore's there with Manila and like whatever. It's like
Hanoi.
it's like top 15 cities in the world.
Yeah, no, it's
I feel bad. I feel really bad.
well,
Uh Either
don't
way, I
beat
will
yourself
digress
up.
from that. Cheers for
Don't
my
don't
digression.
don't beat yourself up. The other the here's another thing. You see Edmonton signed Taylor Cornelius for 2 years for a decent amount of money. This guy has serious accuracy issues.
Yeah, when he was in the XFL, Zach, you know what his deal was? Pretty much every game he played, his team went 1-4 in those 5 games, or like 1-3 in 4 games. And the game that they won, they ran and ran and ran and ran and ran the ball. And the games that they lost, he threw a fourth quarter interception or 2 of them.
Just like last week.
Yeah. I mean, that's this isn't
So
new for Taylor Cornelius. He
and
has all the physical tools. Like,
oh,
look, do the Edmonton Elks need Zach Collaros next season? Do they need Jeremiah Masoli next season? Do they need Jake Mayer next season? Do they need Nathan Rourke next season? I would say no, they don't. They have a lot of work to do. You sign Taylor Cornelius. You hope he can help you win some games. Is he going to bring you to a Grey Cup? Probably not. I'll just say it. No, he's not. But he is going to help you over the next couple years as you rebuild your roster and you turn your team into a competitive football team. And while you do that, you also, like every other position on your roster, you develop young players and you develop the quarterback of the future. Maybe it's Trey Ford, the Canadian draft pick from this year. Maybe it's a guy that's still playing in the NCAA. Maybe it's a guy that's in the NFL right now. Maybe it's a guy who is, sitting on his couch watching games, but working out the other 14 hours of the day. He'll come.
I know, but it just seems like they're paying. I don't know off the top of my head, but it seems like they're paying Cornelius a lot of money to just be a placeholder.
How much are they paying him?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it seemed like it was a decent chunk of change.
Come on, man. Like less than 400 grand.
That's a lot in the CFL for a guy that can't hit the broadside of a barn.
What?
This
He's a
guy,
starting quarterback.
he shouldn't be.
Well, he is.
I don't think his accuracy is brutal. He was less than 50%
The
tonight.
Edmonton Elks don't need to save a bunch of money. So you pay him 30, 40 grand more than maybe he's worth. Like that's the difference between 350 and 390. Maybe you pay him 60, 70 grand more than he's worth. He's still a young player that they're going to try to get the best out of for the next couple of years. Why would Edmonton go pay $525,000 and try to, pull Jake Mayer or they're not going to get Jake Mayer, but why would they go spend a bunch of money on a quarterback? Right?
Because it's the most important position in the CFL. Why would you pay that money for Cornelius?
Is Edmonton ready to take on the best in the league if they suddenly have a quarterback?
Did they need to pay Cornelius that money? I mean, who else was going to get him? Was he in demand?
Let's not pretend he's making 500 grand, man.
Yeah, he's making a lot, and I think some of it's guaranteed.
How much is Zach Collaros making?
4 or 5.
550. And you're worried about Taylor Cornelius making well over $100,000 less. Well over $100,000.
That's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, Anyway, we'll hit this again on midweek, and this could be our wide to the right. Us talking about Cornelius. I mean,
Could very well be.
he has all the
Do you,
physical tools, man. But
do you got a Happy Honker award?
do I have a Happy Honker award?
I know you do.
Of course, I have a Happy Honker award. My Happy Honker award is to Keon Adams. He comes in off the scrap heap from Saskatchewan, and you love to see a guy on the scrap heap from Saskatchewan do well in Winnipeg. He gets his first sack for the Bombers. I thought he looked good. I thought he looked good out there. He's a big guy. I think he has a lot of potential, Darrin. And if Jeffco's going to be hurt a little bit or subbing in and out, it's nice to have Adams. It's a good problem to have. So he's my Happy Honker for coming in cold and not a lot of practice time and holding his own and getting a nice sack.
That's a good pick. I like that for the Happy Honker award.
Yeah.
I'm still stewing on mine, so I will answer this question from Filipenka, who's watching on YouTube. They ask, I believe a player is allowed to give the NFL a shot regardless of contract status in the Canadian Football League. Can someone confirm? Yes, Filipenka, you are right. Any player, whether they're in a 1-year contract, whether they're a pending free agent, whether they're under contract for 3 or 4 years, which happens once in a while, in December and January, there is a 30-day period where they can go work out for NFL teams. They cannot work out for XFL teams. They cannot work out for spring league teams. They cannot work out for USFL teams or whatever upstart comes in the future. They can work out for NFL teams for 1 month, and they have to sign a contract within that month. It's happened many times, and that's the only way a Canadian Football League player under contract can sign in the NFL. Of course, contracts expire around Valentine's Day. That's when free agency opens in the Canadian Football League. So it's prior to that. So teams can kind of understand where they stand. And NFL teams, that's kind of when they're really doing their work going into next year. December, January, they're playing games, but most teams know whether they're in the playoffs or not at that point. And they're no longer like pro scouting. The roster lock is at that point. They can sign players to futures contracts, which are not for the immediate. If a player in the CFL signs in December this year, it's not like they can get onto the roster and play in the playoffs that year. They sign a futures contract for the following season. So yes, Filipenka, great question. You are correct. Happy Honker Award. Oh, I'm going to give it. So I heard this on CGOB's postgame show, and I was just like, wow, that's amazing. What a great dig by their team there. Dakota Prukop has now thrown touchdowns against the 2 teams that have cut him in the CFL.
Oh, really?
He's thrown a touchdown against the Edmonton Elks, who cut him just a couple years ago, or pardon me, after last year, and the Toronto Argonauts, who cut him just a few years ago. So my Happy Honker Award to Buck Pierce and Dakota Prukop for making that happen, and also to CJOB, who is where the Happy Honker Award originated. So thank you for that.
Hey, they do. And by the way, folks, we love CGOB. We love Derek Taylor, Ed Tate, Doug Brown. Like we're not competing with them. We want you to listen to all. We love the Bombers. We love football. We love the media. You know, we want you to consume all of it. And they do a phenomenal job over there. And DT, follow him on Twitter too, because he throws out.
Hey, we're live on YouTube, but you can catch us. A lot of people listening right now are catching us via the podcast. On I don't even know what day it is. It's Saturday, Sunday morning, Monday afternoon. People listen to the postgame show for days after. So if you're just joining us now, or if you're joining us a little bit earlier and you're no longer here, hello, no, you're gone. Okay, well, you can always go back to YouTube, to your favorite podcast app, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We're on all of them. It doesn't matter where you listen, Podbean, whatever, and catch a little bit more of the show. Flip around, fast forward, rewind. If we're talking about something you're interested in, awesome. If we're not, jump ahead, I'll quit talking eventually, and Zach will have a thought.
I don't know if it'll be a thought. It might just be a
Oh, it'll
word.
be a
I
thought.
don't assume that there's thoughts behind every one of my words. Hey, David Phrase, section 128, buddy. Nice to see you. Sits right behind me, laughs at me because I say, oh, they should have run the ball there. They should have run the ball there. And of course, Zach, like he did today, he fakes it and then throws it to Bailey on that beautiful blitz beater in the fourth quarter. Bailey was so mad he didn't get that touchdown. Oh, Bailey was.
Yeah.
I'll get to that at the end of the show. I have an interesting tidbit on Rashid Bailey here. So we did. So you got your happy honker. Now, what was
We got the bonfire burning point still to
what's the
come, and
what's your bonfire burning point, or do you want me to go first?
my bonfire burning point is a stretch of time. But when Winnipeg scored 4 touchdowns on their first 4 possessions, and Edmonton could only respond with 1 TD,
Yeah,
that was it.
yeah. I don't think you could argue against that. I mean, if you want to go into specifics on that, they were up 20. They were up 21-1, I believe, and then you had that 59-yard pass from Taylor Cornelius to Dylan Mitchell over Winston Rose, and then
Yep.
the Bombers immediately respond with that ridiculous play call where Zach Collaros runs out of out of shotgun. I don't even know where he was going. He just ran to the flat. No one was going to throw to him. They I think everyone knew that. And then Brady Oliveira, I don't know if it was a corner route or what he was running, but he ends up in the front corner of the end zone, and Dakota Prukop with pressure in his face throws to him. I don't want to call it a trick play, but that was going deep into the playbook, and I just think Buck was like, "All right, they're trying to make a little bit of a comeback. Hey, let's do this play and just end the game right now." And sure enough, they did. I mean, can you imagine being an Edmonton Elk defender on that play, or anyone on the sideline, or Chris Jones just being dummied by a 20-yard touchdown pass from a backup, the third string QB, to your running back, he's not exactly Andrew Harris in terms of the pass game. Like Buck Pierce, he was probably just giddy there.
Yeah.
Up in the
Yeah.
booth, man. Like that was the burning point. It was
I
just
love the Rashid Bailey 25-yard hitch screen that he
on a
ran.
full blitz. That was a
a
beauty.
great play. Lynn Reimer, her comment up on the screen here. Lynn, this is the beauty of YouTube and podcast. You can go back about 4 or 5 minutes and you'll hear me give the happy honker to Buck Pierce for calling those TDs for Dakota Prukop. But always appreciate you chiming in and joining the show. Everybody has been awesome tonight in the live chat. We've got more viewers right now, I think, than we have ever had. So we'll keep
all
it
right.
going. 48-11. Everyone's pumped. Everyone's excited in Bomber Nation for first place being locked up in the West. We still have our game balls to give out. I want to get to some people on the hotline. 816-TIPS, 816-8477. Call, text. If you call, you're going to have to leave a voicemail. I probably won't answer during the show, but lots of great ones here. Robert, aka Comet, texted. He texted me before the game. He says, we agree on tonight's margin of victory. Bombers 29, Elks 20. Well, Comet, you and I were very, very wrong tonight. And he added, an onslaught also makes sense. Maybe the bookies knew something. 13 points was huge. That was a big number.
That's a lot, especially with the injuries on defense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to say Seth Souza on the chat here. Sorry, Darrin.
The Bombers aren't the only team that are injured, man. They're not.
Yeah.
Lots of teams are really banged up. Toronto is really banged up. The reality is Winnipeg plays next man up football better than any team I've seen in a long time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's their bread and butter. It's kind of their calling card. And I was just going to say, Seth Souza, a new person I see on YouTube watching here. Did Rose get tripped up on the receiver's legs on that play? Yeah, he kind of stumbled. But good to see you on the chat. Darrin, what it was, so that we agree on the burning point. Do we want to give out our Game
Well,
balls here.
I'm gonna mention quick another text I got
Oh,
from
you got another
Brandon
text.
D.
Okay.
Yep, he says great game for Jabal Parker. Yeah, we agree with you here. That's for sure, Brandon. Great to see from the young man. Also, this is the second time this year where all three of our QBs got a touchdown. I think they had a game where, well, Drew Brown came in and threw a touchdown when Zach Collaros got knocked out for a little bit, and they pulled him off for 3 plays. And then I think Prukop had a rushing touchdown in that game. But when was the last time? Pumper was texting me just now.
Hey,
Thanks for the
Pumper.
text, Pumper. Good to see you, man. Hope you're well. Hope you're hanging in there. I know you're battling some things right now, but you're doing great, and I know you're gonna get healthier by the day. When was can you remember the last time 3 quarterbacks on the same team threw touchdowns?
No.
It's crazy. It is absolutely nuts. I really can't think of it.
Gotta find Steve Daniel on that. Maybe that's somewhere in the depths of the CFL library. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, no kidding.
That almost sounds like something that would have happened maybe in like the 50s or 60s, right? When you had a bunch of different
Well, did
guys
you even
moving
have 3
around.
quarterbacks or 3 guys that maybe played quarterback?
Yeah. Or
How
different
about
guys
this
throwing
for
the
a
ball.
text? How about this for a text? 306 area code. This is Jerry
Mhm.
Wilson from Big Beaver, Saskatchewan.
Oh,
Thanks
yeah.
for the text, Jerry. Appreciate you, man. Here with the Redneck Riderville review. What do you got, Jerry? Jerry says, plain and simple, it all goes through Collaros. That's the Redneck Riderville review from Jerry Wilson in Big
Okay,
Beaver,
thanks, Jerry.
Saskatchewan. Awesome.
Is there a Little Beaver, Saskatchewan as well?
I doubt it.
Travis Rubreniuk saying CJOB talked about it was 2019 the last time that 3 quarterbacks on the same team threw.
I would like to know who that was.
Yeah, that would be super
That's
cool to
something.
know.
But here's the thing. When's the last time it happened when nobody got pulled because of performance and
Right.
nobody got hurt? That they chose to use 3 quarterbacks.
Oh,
Out of decision,
yeah.
no inclination, no oh man, this guy's struggling, let's bring this guy in. When was the last time all 3 quarterbacks had an efficiency rating of over 150 and nobody got hurt? I can't imagine that was the case in 2019.
Well, Scott Roger has an answer here for us. 90 Grey Cup from Craig Smith. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's cool.
Burgess, McManus, and Garza. Oh, there you go. Our man is watching live. Gerald Wilson on YouTube. Text to the hotline. No Little Beaver in Sask. I will just leave that right there.
Okay, we will.
Okay,
let's get to our game balls, buddy.
Okay, how many do you have tonight?
Funny you
ask. For those that aren't aware, that's kind of the running joke.
I'm the Oprah here of the show.
You got a duffel bag full of game balls.
You know what, dude? I'm gonna give out 1 game ball because I'm gonna break the trend here. I'm gonna give out 1 game ball. I know you could give it to Collaros and Schoen because he's insane, but I want to give it to the Bombers offense. 503 yards of offense against a pretty good defense. Chris Jones led defense, good defensive front. Gave us all kinds of trouble a couple of months ago, Darrin. Zach completed 7 passes for 43%, 3 turnovers, still won the game. 503 yards of offense, 75% on second down, and 3 quarterbacks throw touchdowns. And the game was basically over by the beginning of the second quarter. So I give, because we know it's a 12-person game, that O-line, the blocking, I just thought they were all phenomenal. Of course, Schoen jumps off the page. Dembski jumps, Oliveira running, Prukop, Collaros. I mean, I still it amazes me how cool under pressure Collaros is in the first half, throwing that touchdown to, I believe it was Schoen. He pump fakes like 3 times. He doesn't see one thing. He fools the defense there. He's so calm. And the guy just has got ice in his veins. But for me, the game ball just goes to that offense. The defense didn't even really need to show up. They just absolutely I'll use the word slaughtered the Elks, and just
There you
on
go.
on a secondary there. Um, I was looking for that Elks burger. Apparently, there
Elk
was an
burger. Yeah,
Elks
yeah.
burger, and it wasn't very good. So
How come?
I don't know. Someone told me it wasn't very good, and I guess the Elk burger wasn't very good. The Elks team wasn't very good, but the offense was very, very good. They were cooking. They were cooking some elk tonight, buddy.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll try to give a game ball to offense, defense, special teams. So offensively tonight, I'll give 2 because I think Nick Dembski deserves a game ball for just how well he's playing. 8 touchdowns in his last 6 games. 8 touchdowns in his last 6 games. Unbelievable. Good on Nick, closing in on 1,000
Yeah.
combined yards on the season.
Which we
But
called, buddy.
Dalton, hey,
We called that, right?
indeed, indeed. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna try to be more humble about some of these predictions because I'm just hitting on all of them.
Should
No,
see
I
your
joke.
bank account.
I joke. Oh yeah, right, right. If only. But Dalton Schoen, like when you score 3 touchdowns, you don't get the game ball or a game ball. You get 3 game balls. That's huge. That's like Al Bundy, right? Like Al
Yeah.
Bundy had what, 4
For what?
touchdowns in one game in high school.
Did he?
Coincidentally, Dalton Schoen said on his CGOB post-game interview that like Derek asked him, when's the last time you had 3 touchdowns in a game? He's like, I don't think I ever have, maybe high school. Yeah, but I guess you don't know the Al Bundy reference. Maybe some of the
Sorry, folks.
some of the older folks out there will
Yeah.
know that reference.
I'm so young.
And then defensively, mm, oh boy, that's tough. The whole defense, I guess. Edmonton couldn't do a thing.
No. I mean,
Special teams, I'm giving it to Jamal Parker for the forced fumble. You could probably give it to him on the deep, but yeah, I'll definitely give one to Jamal Parker. Those are my game balls tonight.
Nick Hallett had a great forced fumble on special teams, and I saw Hassel. What is it? JT Hassel?
JT Hassel.
He had a whale of a tackle on
Yeah.
Salisbury.
Well,
That
somebody
was
mentioned to us
big.
on Bonfire midweek back on Tuesday, right? Did
Yeah.
we do it Tuesday this week?
Yeah.
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 That he can lay a hit.
Yeah.
There it is again.
Yeah. No, he's a big dude too. Like I didn't realize he. I don't know. I don't have his measurables in front of me. Yeah. Sorry, Towson. Too young. Too
Oh,
young.
you want to know his height weight?
Yeah, because he looks big from the sidelines anyway. Also, didn't they mention
He's 5'11", 200, first year out of Florida
he's not
Tech.
that big. Maybe I was thinking of someone
No,
else.
no. 5'11", 200?
Well, I
That's
weigh 200 pounds and I'm 5'6".
Yeah, I know, but you're also not a pro athlete.
Why do you have to shatter my dreams, Darrin? That's why I do those stair runs. I'm trying to train, right? Get on the Bombers
muscle
roster.
weighs more than fat. If you take like
that's right.
the
That's
same
right.
500
I'm all
grams of
muscle.
each. Well, no, you can't do that because then they would weigh the same. They'd both be 500
That's
grams.
true. You obviously did physics as well.
Nope,
200 with or without the chain, Mac Car. I
never.
love it.
Never took.
By the way, didn't Zach Collaros, isn't he now tied with Tom Clemens for a single season TD pass record?
I'm not sure about that.
I heard the Maestro McGregor, the PA announcer, say I think Clements also he had tied Clements. Someone might want to chime in on that.
We'll dig that up. We'll definitely get into that on midweek this week.
Yeah,
we're doing Wednesday night, 7:30, right
back
here.
to Wednesday. Okay,
Yes,
Darrin,
sir.
are we done our game ball? Because I wanna bring something up that I think we need to get into on midweek. And I don't know if folks, you would have had to be on the west side, sitting on the west side to see this, but on the third Dalton Schoen touchdown from Drew Brown,
Mm-hmm.
which was a thing of beauty. I mean, Brown was legit. Rasheed Bailey was steaming mad.
Really?
Steaming mad. Now, Firestarters, if you want to get in on this and you saw this, chime in, please. He was just walking like a speed walker away from the play. He was not happy. I mean, everybody else on the Bombers was going nuts, right? You just made it 48 points, 3 touchdowns for a guy. That doesn't happen very often. And Rasheed Bailey was having none of it. He had to be consoled by Jackson Jeffcoat, who walked over. Rasheed kind of just kept walking off by himself. I don't know what's going on.
We don't know
there.
what. We don't know what happened.
And I don't want to speculate.
No.
I just hope. And then I saw a coach come over and try to console him. Something's bothering him. I mean, if I'm reading between the lines there, very good, Donnie. Maybe he's upset with his lack of touches. Jeff Cabill is saying maybe he just wants in on it. I mean, I think when I look back with Lawler leaving to the Elks, Bailey was supposed to be the next big guy up, right? He was supposed to be the next.
And they also signed Greg Ellingson.
No, I understand that, but then Greg Ellingson goes down, so maybe Bailey is champing at the bit. He's talented.
Yeah,
he had a hell of a Grey Cup game, Darrin.
You know what? FIFO.
I understand, but I understand, and I agree with you. I just hope Bailey isn't really raw, and this isn't going to last because you don't.
Well, you said you didn't want to speculate.
No, I'm not. I don't want to speculate because I don't know what it is. What I'm telling you is, I hope it's not a locker room issue where this is going to eat at him, because Schoen is going to continue to get touches, and you don't want. Yes, receivers always want the ball. Waiters, I have never in this sort of iteration of the Canadian Mafia, especially in the last couple of years, I have never seen a player visibly be upset at another player's success. So it's just something I'm watching for. I hope it's. Am I speculating? I don't know. I'm just worried. I'm just worried about it. I'm worried about it because, they also tried to bring Lawler in. Right?
Yep.
So I don't know, man. It just looked like he was mad about Schoen getting the touch. Maybe he was the play caller. Oh yeah, maybe I am speculating. Here, I'll allow myself to speculate, but I don't want to try and make a prediction of what it is. I don't know. It's just I hope it's not anything.
Then we move on.
Well, I just hope it's nothing bad in the locker room, because that's the last thing you want.
No, that's a speculation.
Yeah. Okay, I'll speculate.
Look, guys get mad all the time on the field. You're playing with energy and passion, and come on, it's crazy. I have got a huge bug in this room, attacking my light.
Oh, I thought you meant you were like you were being recorded by the KGB or something.
Yeah, that's what FIFO stands for. It's the FIFO is the Federal Institute of. No, Dennis wants to know. I wanted to get through some of the best comments of the night, Zach. FIFO is the acronym that is engraved inside the Blue Bombers Grey Cup ring. It's on the wall of the locker room. It's been the players' motto, the internal motto, for a long, long time. For a long time, the team didn't even want people to know what it was.
Right.
Because there's a swear word in it. Right? But now people know what it is, and it's actually something I think people celebrate. FIFO stands for fit in or blank off. You pull on the blue and gold at practice, during the game, in the locker room, hanging out with the guys, whatever. You fit into the group or beat it. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
Dan Asham, or Ash SM, got me there, Dan, wanted to know how Nick Dembski played tonight. He played exceptional. Yeah. Dembski was number 2 on the Blue Bombers receiving core on offense. Oh, it just refreshed on me here. Dembski, he had 5 catches on 6 targets for 92 yards. He averaged 18.4 yards per catch. Had a touchdown, 3 second down conversions, 2 plays of over 30 yards. Dembski was a beast. That leads into the next comment, Zach. from Waiters. Is Nick Dembski the most outstanding Canadian this year?
I don't
Winnipeg?
know.
No question.
No question in Winnipeg. I have Winnipegitis because I thought he was, but then I looked at the stats this week, and Curly Gittins and Keon Schaefer-Baker are ahead of him in terms of yardage. I'm not sure about combined yardage, and definitely not ahead of him on touchdowns. Guy's got 10 touchdowns. So I think you could make a pretty good argument, even if he doesn't have the receiving yardage lead. He's got 10 touchdowns, and he's got a good chunk of running yards. So combined, I think he might be over those two dudes who are having exceptional years too. I'd have to look more deeply.
There's also Nathan Rourke.
Yep.
Quickly, Waiters, does Dalton Schoen lead the league in yards and touchdowns? He does right now, but Jalen Acklin and Geno Lewis are right on his tails in the yardage.
Yeah.
And they still play this weekend. Touchdowns, he's, I think, got a 4 touchdown lead at this
On
point.
Dominic Rhymes.
After pulling in 3 tonight, which is really something. Nathan Rourke, I don't think is the most outstanding player in the league this year. But to me, how dominant he was in 8 games, the numbers he put up, the wins he put up, and how he did it, I think he's got my vote for most outstanding Canadian this year.
Well,
not MOP, but MOC.
Yeah, and people are saying, if you miss more than a third of the season, you miss so many games. If you only play 8 games, should you be up for it? But funny they ask, because guess what's happening on Wednesday, folks, is I hope I'm not talking out of turn here, Darrin, but our plan is to get into the mind of one Darrin Bauming, an official voter with the Canadian Football Reporters of Canada. Is that right? Or what do they call you? You higher echelon asking? People? You people who have an official vote?
Canada?
Yeah.
What about us?
Don't you have a vote?
I do. I have for a few years now.
So we're gonna get inside your head on Wednesday. We're gonna see, who Darrin votes for and why, who Zach votes for, who you folks vote for, because we have this cool initiative by Genius Sports and CFL to vote for your all-star team. But I think we could also throw in our league awards in there, Darrin. MOP, most outstanding Canadian, most outstanding rookie,
we'll get into it all.
So think about that, folks, before Wednesday. Who do you pick and why? I can't wait to get in your head, Darrin, because it's complex, right? You don't always necessarily just pick the league leader in sacks, let's say, for a defensive player like Lorenzo Malden, who has a high number of sacks. I'm sure there's
Sean
a lot
Lemon.
more that. Yeah, Sean Lemon.
This is my argument to that, for a little teaser of Bonfire midweek on Wednesday. Some of I would say 2 or 3 games this year where Willie Jefferson was the best player on the field. The best games Willie Jefferson played this year, he didn't have a sack.
Yeah.
So how much do you put into sack numbers? I said this to Chris Walby on the pregame show. And to everybody out there watching, if you're missing the pregame show, you're missing the man, Chris Walby himself. Ensure you check out the pregame. It's appointment listening. We go 3 p.m. live the day before every Blue Bombers game. Don't miss it here on YouTube and on podcast. Chris Walby said to me years ago, so you got 2 sacks in a game. Congratulations. What did you do on the other 55 snaps?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Yeah.
Did you blow your contain? Did you make any tackles? Did you stop the run? Did you help your teammates? What did you do?
Yeah.
How valuable are you? How outstanding are you if you only put up one statistical number? And there was a lot of debate. Well, you know what? Let's save the rest for Wednesday.
No, but it's interesting, right? Because they stopped calling quarterback pressures. Brandon B is talking about this too, right? It's unfortunate because I think quarterback pressures, you could argue, maybe a little bit more about how good a player does. But anyway, we're going
Yeah.
to talk about this on Wednesday. I think it's kind of a fun topic, and I'm super fascinated to know what goes into an official voter like you, Darrin. What goes into picking?
Not
Uh,
much.
oh, come on, come
We will get
on.
into that. Yeah, be sure to join us live 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday for Bonfire Midweek, as we always do. Do want to Jeff Kabilas says, get into the mind of Darrin Bauming. Ticats number 2 power ranking. I had the Hamilton Tiger Cats behind Winnipeg, Calgary, and BC. I had them at number 4 in the power rankings, and to this day, everybody thinks I had them in like the top 2. Nope, didn't happen.
We'll have to go
Did I
back and
expect
check
more of the
film.
Ticats this year? Yeah, I sure did.
Hey, look, they're still in it, buddy. I mean, it's their playoff spot to lose. I mean, Saskatchewan has to what? They have to beat Calgary probably twice to get the crossover.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. I don't think.
No.
Hamilton's going to make the playoffs. So, and hey, once you make the
And
playoffs,
yep,
they're probably going to play Montreal. They
that's
might
what I
win.
tweeted last night. Like, absolute shattering loss for the Saskatchewan Roughriders
yeah.
last night to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And I said it then, and I'll you know, it's absolutely the case. It's the Canadian Football League. We've seen it with Ottawa. We've seen it with Toronto. You get into the playoffs, anything can happen. And this is what I tweeted last night. If there is a team that has belief in their room because of solid coaching and culture that they can win, that belief is in Orlando Steinhauer's group.
Yep.
So look out. Hamilton is not a bad football team.
They have a good roster, and that Wes Hills is a good runner.
Yes. Yeah.
So
and
they have a
suddenly
running
they're
game.
starting to run it too.
Yeah.
Want to get to a couple more comments here, Zach. One Bird, Olamim, thanks for joining us as always, One Bird. Good to see you back. Dembski has 854 yards total. That number I don't believe is correct. You need to go to his game log on CFL.ca. I'll pull it. You know what? I think I have it here. But he entered today about 260 yards short of 1,000 combined. So he's coming up on it very soon. Good friend Dennis, or Denis, goes by both. DB knows the geography of his van down by the river. Yeah, that's pretty much how I know my geography. And to go back to it all, it was John Chan said, good morning from Singapore. He then said the start of Japan F1 in a couple hours time. That's what threw me off. That's why I was talking about.
Oh, that's fair. That's okay. I'll give you that.
Sun was in my eyes. Sun was in my eyes, coach.
Sure. The ball. Bob Man is giving you the gears. He's saying, asking if you're going to vote for Steinauer for Coach of the Year, the Anastulkis Trophy, Darrin.
Anastulkis, yeah. No. I'm probably going to vote for the coach of the team that has won more games than any other team in this league in a long, long time, and happens to be the guy who won it last year. Yeah, One Bird, you're right. Not updated. It doesn't happen too quickly. I noticed McLeod Bethel Thompson's passing yards. This is far from important, but his passing yards were updated in the league leaders, but the receiving yards and the receiving touchdowns, that sort of thing, were not updated following that Toronto BC game today, which, by the way, BC lost, Winnipeg won. There they are with their ticket punch to hosting the West Final. Couple more comments I wanted to get to here. This one is one I grabbed earlier. I thought was interesting. Booch27, who's watching live on YouTube, says, you play most of your number ones in that last game at home to acclimatize to the conditions. What will the weather be like October 28th with the BC Lions in town, Zach? You got little ones. Do you remember Halloween being... I remember as a kid there being snow on the ground, but it hasn't been that way in a long time.
No, the odd time, maybe every 10 years there's snow. I don't think there'll be snow for that one, but it'll be chilly. It'll be a couple of layers, right?
Yep.
I wore a t-shirt. I wore a fleece thingy and the jersey, and I was actually a bit warm tonight, so I don't think I'll be warm on October 28th.
Yeah.
But it may be chilly, but who knows? Who knows with the weather?
Sard mentioning Halloween can be anywhere from -10 to +15. Isn't that true? Yeah, and Jeff Kabila, Zach will only wear his chain. Please.
Stop pulling my chain, folks.
I'm
Stop
not
pulling my
pulling
chain.
anything with that thought in my
No.
head. On the note of playing your best to acclimatize to the conditions, are the Winnipeg Blue Bombers too pro to get rust? Asks James in the Peg, who's watching live on YouTube. What's going on, James?
James.
Do you think Winnipeg has that mental fortitude to just avoid the rust?
Well, I don't know, man, because I don't know if it's mental fortitude or it's just human nature, because we remember last year, the 2021 West Final that we almost gave away to the Riders. I mean, that was an all-star team, that Bomber team, and
Yeah.
they almost gave that game away, and they had sewn up first place for a while. So I think it could happen to anybody. Do I think that we are a team that's probably the least susceptible to it because of our coaching and character? Yeah. I think if they play it well, I think they should be fine. But listen, I'm almost 95% sure that Calgary is going to be in that game. And if we don't heal up on defense, it concerns me. It would be a real travesty to lose that game, because I think if you're going to play a team in the East, it's almost like the West Finals your Grey Cup, because the way the Toronto, someone described
People have been saying
Toronto,
that for months, right?
Toronto today, someone described Toronto as the best worst team they've ever seen. Like they scored 2 points last week, and then they come back and beat BC. They're so up and down. They're so unpredictable. McLeod Bethel Thompson, that's kind of like his MO. So it's an interesting one. It feels to me like the West Finals of Grey Cup, and it's Calgary Winnipeg, and Calgary's frankly scares me. Although they do give up a lot of pass yards, Darrin, and
Yeah.
maybe it'll just be one of these games that is just an absolute shootout in frigid weather.
You never know.
You don't know.
Andrea's mentioning the Bombers had rust in last year's West Final.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could call it rust. It was just turnovers,
Yeah.
Are you gonna say it's rust that a bobbled touchdown pass to Nick Dembski gets picked off?
That was horrible.
You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you just don't catch the breaks. And in the end, who didn't catch the break? It was the Saskatchewan Roughriders, unable to take that strong first half into a win. I liked this comment. Oh gosh, I lost it. Here we go. This from Chris Joyle, who's watching live on YouTube. What's going on, Chris?
Joyle, what's up?
Joining us, man. It'll be sweater weather. Okay. It'll be sweater weather at Halloween, but not much more than that. Not cold enough to impact the game negatively. They'll be playing strong because they won't overheat and you won't freeze, says Chris Joyle, who's watching on YouTube. I agree with that.
I just got to find a costume for my son. I think he's going to be a football again. We have a little football, like, potato sack.
Calgary is good, says Neon Dreams 98, but they also lost to BC twice at home, including against Vernon Adams. LMFAO, says Neon Dreams. So they ain't exactly all that in a bag of chips. Fresh Press reference.
Yeah.
If we show up, we'll be fine. Neon Dreams 98. Thanks for joining us,
Yes.
Neon.
Yeah, well, I get he has a point, but that Kadeem Carey fella in cold weather, running on our linebacking core. Anyway, we'll see. It's so early to speculate. It's so early to speculate. It's a while off now, but it's nice to know it's sewn up and in the bag, and we can sort of rest on our laurels. But we won't be resting on our laurels here at Bonfire Sports, buddy.
No, sir. Going to the Grey Cup too.
Right.
Gonna be there.
Right.
Gonna be there no matter what.
Well,
I know
that'll
you're
be.
jealous. I'm sorry,
I,
Zach.
I'm not. I'm not. I got to go to the last two Grey Cups. Saw my team win in
There you go.
person a Grey Cup. I could die a happy man right now, to be honest.
Mac Carr says if the Bombers were ever played in Touchdown Atlantic as a road game like the Riders did, would you guys hit it up? I would love to go out to the
Oh,
East
that'd be
Coast.
fun. I
East
got it.
Coast
My
is
brother-in-law
beautiful in the
lives out
summer.
in Halifax. That would be great.
What's that?
My brother-in-law lives out in
Oh,
Halifax.
your
That'd be great.
bro-in-law. Okay, so
Yeah.
we got a place to stay.
Yeah. We got a place to stay as long as you're not
Beautiful.
allergic to dogs and cats.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that might be a problem. Okay,
Cats
we'll
are a
figure.
killer for me, man. It's
Oh,
like,
buddy. Yeah, and you've been to my house a couple times. I don't know how you
yep.
survived. I got 3 of them.
And then I went back up to your living room. I tried to shake your cat off of my leg, my lap,
Yeah.
my arm, my shoulders. He liked me.
Yeah.
And I think he's
Shh.
okay, but just his dander gets to me.
Yeah.
So Dennis, playoffs are very tight, and a three-peat is the hardest thing to do in sports. Yeah, absolutely it is. The reality is you could say this Blue Bombers team today is better than they were in 21 and they were in 2019. It's the mental strength, fortitude, toughness, focus. Can this Winnipeg Blue Bombers team not think about it being a three-peat or it being a back-to-back in 2 straight seasons? That's the whole thing, right? 0-0 every week, trying to go 0-1. That's the Mike O'Shea Winnipeg Blue Bombers mentality. It needs to be deeper than just a line doled out to the media. It needs
Yeah.
to be a belief that we're 0-0 and we go out there and we try to go 1-0 every week. Look at the way the West Final went last year. Even in game,
Yeah.
you can't think of, oh, we're down 20 points. Oh, no, we're down 25. No, just go play. It's 0-0 every
Yeah.
play, every quarter.
I
That's what you got to
absolutely
do.
think I absolutely think they have
Yep.
the mental fortitude to do
Yep.
it. And it's just it sometimes comes down to injuries and bounces and all those things. But someone asked here, has it been done since the Edmonton dynasty? It has not. Nobody has won 3 in a row since the 80s. So yeah, 4-peat is harder. Um, yeah, especially in football. I mean, I feel like football is especially hard to three-peat, but I don't know.
Want to get to a couple more comments before we wrap it up. Awesome to see everybody still in the live
Yes,
chat
this is
and
great.
watch. Yeah, and hey, if you're out, doing yard work, closing up the cabin, you're catching this on your podcast. How about that? You get 2 hours of Bombers coverage, for your listening pleasure. Comet asking, how are tickets selling for the West Final? Don't know, but I sure can presume pretty good.
Oh yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good. Where was this other one? Oh, yes. So Paul Adet asks, DB, I hope the Bombers get Malik Clements back to replace Shane Gauthier.
He
I
looked
don't
like
think
he
it's
was.
going to be Kyrie Wilson. It
Yeah,
probably will be Malik Clements. Malik Clements, if he's able to come back, but still not practicing. So
it
we
looked like he was
will.
on crutches, if I'm not mistaken, on the sideline there. So I don't know when that's going to happen.
Yeah, he's off the crutches, I believe.
Oh, is he? I thought I saw him the
Um,
crutches.
Turk says Dalton Schoen and Nick Dembski. Who do you double
Turkinator.
team? Well, you can't.
You can't.
You can't double team them both, or else
Nope.
they're just going to run Brady right up the gut. Second last comment I want to get to, Zach, before we give our final thoughts. Sign Drew Brown long term, declares Larry Ward. Larry and I are on the same page.
Yeah, I mean,
It's probably not going
can
to
you
happen, though.
can you sign him long term and still pay Zach that kind of money?
Well, that's the thing. Signing a contract takes two parties, right? Drew Brown, I'm sure, has a good agent. or I'm sure that he is going to represent himself properly, one or the other, and knows his worth. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to sign a 2-year contract, a 3-year contract, and lock yourself into a number that you might be outplaying? I think you sign 1-year deals and you try to include as much playtime and performance incentives as you can. You know, like if you play 50% of snaps, I've seen CFL contracts. Many times it's like 50% of snaps in a game, or how many games do you dress for, or how many games do you start, right? If you hit those performance bonuses, your contract goes from, say, 60,000 to 75,000.
Yeah.
For a quarterback, it could go from 150,000 to 500,000. Probably
Here's
not
a
500.
question. Would a team like Edmonton or another team looking for a quarterback, would they try and sign Drew Brown just based on what he's shown?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the task at hand for Kyle Walters. Sign Drew Brown with the intention of being like, look, you're going to learn from the best. Look how good Buck is. You got Danny McManus in the building. You've got Mike O'Shea in the building. And you get to learn from Zach Collaros every single day.
Yep.
Okay? Or you can go to Edmonton, maybe make a little bit more money.
Yeah.
Right? And it all comes down to incentive.
Be a starter.
They have Trey Ford. They have Taylor Cornelius. Like, is Drew Brown going to get in? Like, look, if Drew Brown wants to wait until February and see free agency and see if a team wants to pay him $350,000, $400,000, maybe that's what he wants to do. Or maybe he just wants to get good number 2 money in Winnipeg, and continue his climb. Maybe he wants to play. I don't know. I'm not inside the brain of the young man, but yeah. John Chan wants to know how many years Zach Collaros is signed for. I think he's going year to year right now.
Year to year, yeah.
Yeah.
But I hope he plays for a number of years, like a Henry Burris type thing, right? Like just hang in there forever. Can we leave it on this one? I'm just pulling an audible here. I love this comment from Gerald Wilson. He says he's a 50-year Bomber fan. I honestly cannot think of a better team by the Bombers.
How about that?
I think that's super cool.
I'm looking for that comment. Where'd it go?
Yeah, it's down a little bit, not too far. Maybe about 10.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Well, that's Gerald Wilson from Big Beaver, Saskatchewan.
Oh, that's you, Gerald. Oh,
yeah.
I forgot about the Big Beaver. I pushed it out of my
mind. How did you forget about the Big Beaver?
I don't know. know.
Man, I can't get the Big Beaver out of my brain.
I don't know.
Great to have you, Gerald.
Yes, Gerald.
Yeah, and thanks for
50-year Bomber fan
hotline.
who lives in the Green Guy's backyard, and cool to be a 50-year Bomber fan. I hope to make it that far, and thinks this is the best Bomber team he's seen. So that's super cool.
Yeah,
thanks for sharing that, Gerald, and joining.
Okay, so tonight, Jeff Kabila says Buck Pierce should have come down from the booth to throw a touchdown pass to. That would have been 4 Bombers throwing touchdowns. And then Bobman P sharply identifies that Danny McManus was in Hamilton last night. I'm thinking he's probably still there, right? The Blue Bombers assistant general manager, honored by his former club where he was a Grey Cup champion and outstanding quarterback for a couple teams in the CFL, BC, Hamilton. But Hamilton, I think, is where most people identify him during his playing time. So Danny probably not at IG Field last night, but yeah, everybody was throwing touchdowns tonight.
And Larry Ward been a fan since '64, so
that's awesome.
So if my math that you're going on 60 years of being a fan. So good for you, my friend.
58 years. Good for you.
Yeah, awesome. All right, Darrin, we gotta stop stoking the bonfire here and maybe douse it for a few days because
we'll douse it for a few days.
I gotta hit the hay.
I need a day off. I was calling. I called 4 Bison basketball games this weekend, including a couple by University of Manitoba starting forward Wyatt Tate, son of legendary sports writer Bluebombers.com, Ed Tate.
Young Eddie. Awesome.
Young Eddie, and the younger son Wyatt.
There you
Heck
go.
of an athlete.
Young and younger.
Heck of an
Well, that's
athlete.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And Western University in town to play against the University of Manitoba in basketball. I'll just say this: Western University football school.
All right.
After I call their basketball game.
And where's Western? Is that somewhere in Tokyo there, Darrin?
No. It used to be the University of Western. Now it's Western University.
Okay, here. Okay, we got to finish on this. Jab says Schoen needs 70 yards a game to be. Oh, yeah, he needed 70 yards a game to beat Perry Tuttle's record. Yeah, we talked about that on midweek. And then he got 162 today. So it looks like he's well on his way to beat Tuttle's record for yardage for the Bomber rookie record. So that's super cool. Here's what I want to know.
Harrison didn't practice this week. Just to answer Wader's question here.
What is the rookie record for touchdowns in the CFL? Do we know?
I gotta look all that up. I really do.
I'd like to know. I suspect it's like a crazy big number, but I'd like to know if Schoen is on pace for that, because 14 is a lot for a rookie. Anyway,
it's a ton. It's a ton. T. Konapali mentioning would Ottawa or Saskatchewan try to sign Drew Brown? Maybe Saskatchewan. Ottawa's got Jeremiah Masoli. He's their guy.
Oh, 18 is the record. 18.
Oh, there you
John
go. John Elliott says, yeah. We'll double check that. We'll get to those. We'll get to those on.
Shout out to One Bird. He went through game by game to collate the number of Nick Dembski combined yards.
I hope he didn't,
Good job,
because
my man.
you can go to his page and see his season total going into tonight.
Well, maybe he just
take
wanted
that
to
number you add
work
tonight.
on his math.
Yeah,
work on his math. Nice guy. Thanks for coming to
math.
say hi that day. A couple of games ago. One Bird. Nice to meet you. Okay,
we'll leave it there,
folks. Sayonara.
Appreciate everybody joining us. Zach, that was awesome. We will see you Wednesday for Bonfire midweek.
Yes.
And then we're going to miss you on the post game next week, though.
I can't do that late. I've got little kids. You're going to have to sub someone in.
We'll find somebody.
Not somebody too good. Don't find someone too good like a Jeff Hamilton or Taylor Allen.
We've had great like Mike Still.
Mike Still was phenomenal.
Taylor Allen was
Ted
awesome.
Wyman. They're all good. You're gonna Wally Pip me, man.
Nah,
they can't wear the chain like this.
See, that's the thing. You don't know Al Bundy, but you know Wally Pip. Sheesh. All right, everybody.
Okay. Ciao.
Thanks so much. Appreciate
you all
hanging out late tonight and joining us here on Game Day After Dark.
Bye-bye.
48-11.
Yeah.
And that's the final. We'll see you, everybody.